And welcome back to another episode of Intern TV here on Newman Media at Newman University in Aston, Pennsylvania. I'm Matt Dopp, and we're joined as always by Jeff Wilson, Andrew Golden. Excited to give you another episode of Intern TV. We have a great program today. We got a sophomore in our sport management program. Sean Flannery's coming on. We're really excited to talk to him. He's been doing a lot, but before we bring him in, we got to talk to the other two co-hosts that make this show great. So we'll pass over Andrew. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. I like the pocket square.
Thank you.
Once again, on the theme, I cut you short again. But
Hey, it's all right.
hey, all good. Appreciate it, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You guys are looking beautiful.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah,
There
right?
you
You're
go.
just like kind of like that Elvis Christmas album.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Blue Christmas.
November. Nope.
No, I don't think
Christmas
that's how
is
it
in
goes,
December,
but it's
dude.
fine. Here we go.
Hey, that sounded good. All right, hey, well, we might as well bring our guest in.
Let's do it.
So, hey, Sean, how you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on today. I like your guys' blue suits as well.
Yeah, exactly.
hey,
It's good to
yeah,
see you
look
got
at
the
that.
memo
You
and you're
got the
following the
memo.
theme. Yeah. So, Sean, so like I said, you're a sophomore here. You're in the sport management program, and you kind of really hopped in early doing some internships that you've been interning at Perfect Game. So just tell us a little bit what you got going on and just your story a little bit.
Yeah, so with Perfect Game, I work very closely with different aspects of Perfect Game. So I've worked in the booth at the beginning or at the front of the gate with collecting a couple parents' money to come in. I also work as the Diamond Cast worker. So I work on the iPad and I type in the lineups for each game. I work closely with each coach from each team throughout the day. So like I work from very long hours, 7 a.m. till late at night, around 8 or 10 p.m. It's usually like 6 games a day. I have to deal with a lot of different things going on during the game. I have to talk to the umpires, make sure they're okay, make sure they have enough balls, and I have a lot of questions coming in with parents when I have when I make a mistake, say they have to come in and be like, hey, I just want to let you know that you made this mistake with my son, blah, 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 blah. And then I have to call my supervisor and whatnot to help fix that mistake. But other than that, I really like working with the umpires and the coaches and whatnot. But
Yeah. So Sean, being that Perfect Game, they're a baseball league that really goes on all over the northeastern area, a lot of New Jersey, which I know you're from. So obviously, with the world of sports kind of shutting down recently because of COVID and all this, baseball is kind of something that still's kind of been going. Like MLB had a season. So with Perfect Game not shutting down, how did you kind of go about looking at this and saying, hey, I like baseball, I can work in baseball?
So I actually had this lined up for the summer before COVID even hit. And then when COVID hit, it was sort of like a pause. And I didn't hear anything from anyone. I was very confused on what was the future of Perfect Game. And when on July 9th it started, it was right after my birthday, they were like, hey, just to let you know, we're going to roll out. It's going to be every single day. It was a very hectic summer. Usually in August, there's a little bit of a break between different tournaments. But since COVID hit, there was every single day from July 9th until last weekend in October. So it's been very hectic since COVID hit.
So, Sean, with COVID hitting and I'm sure changing a lot of how Perfect Game was going one way, and now the pandemic hit and you had to make changes, what kind of different guidelines or precautionary acts you guys have to do for you to be able to host a tournament out of state?
So most of our tournaments happened in New Jersey because different places in, say, Pennsylvania, we had a tournament, but we had to limit the amount of spectators that could come. So, there was only, 1 or 2 parents per player. But in New Jersey, we couldn't, so our guidelines for the games, we couldn't have mound visits for the entire team. It could only be the coach and just the pitcher and catcher. It couldn't be the entire infield. For ground rules before the game, it was mostly we didn't really do ground rules. It was sort of like the umpire would just talk to one coach at a time, just so we wouldn't have that constant different area coming into one. That was the main thing there. And then there's obviously masks had to be worn while watching the games. We had to wear masks while talking to people outside, outside of our organization. So parents and coaches and umpires, we had to wear masks. But other than that, when we were sitting there on the iPad scoring the game, we did not have to wear our masks because we had our own little section. Like, it was underneath a tent. It was very secluded. The parents didn't really come up to us. They obviously still found a way to come up to us, and that's when we had to put our mask on.
So Sean, basically touching off something that you just talked about right there, it seems like you really got a lot out of this internship. You know, obviously there's the day-to-day when there's non-COVID times, and then there's the new day-to-day with COVID times. But basically kind of getting to digest both sides of what you took away from this internship. What is your biggest, I guess I'll say, what is your biggest takeaway from this that you're going to use as you propel down the line and go into your next internship?
Yes, so actually before this internship, I was very interested in marketing, and wanted to pursue the sports marketing field. And ever since working for Perfect Game, I've realized I really like events. And after talking with a couple different people, I realized that events and marketing have a lot in common. Obviously, an event can't happen without good marketing, and marketing can't happen without an event to market. So that's what I really realized with working with Perfect Game, is that just because I wanted to focus in marketing doesn't mean I didn't want to do anything else. And I was so set on marketing, and when I first started working for Perfect Game, I realized wow, events is such a great field. You get to see so many different sides. I got to see different operational sides. I got to see basically game day operations, even though it's not for a professional sports team where game day operations is setting up a bunch of things, but it was sort of on a lesser scale.
Yeah. So Sean, I want to switch gears on you here from Perfect Game, because something at Newman is in our sport management program and all over Newman, we preach that during the quarantines, during COVID, there's going to be two types of people: the people that sat down and did nothing, and the people that made time of their downtime and learned a certain skill. And I know that's what you did, where you focused on a little bit graphic design and doing different edits, and that actually around the NFL draft, you got to work with some of the NFL players that got drafted. So just talk a little bit about that skill you picked up and what it was like to work with some players.
Yeah, so I didn't really want to sit around during quarantine. I didn't want to sit there and play video games the entire time. So I wanted to really hone in on a new skill. And I decided to do graphic design, as you said. And I was mainly just working with my high school football team, making designs, making graphics for their Instagram and their Twitter. And Professor Mezzi actually had a great idea. He said, you should reach out to later round draft picks and be hey, I just wanted to know if you would like me to design something in your new uniform. So that's exactly what I did. I reached out to mostly every single third and later draft pick in the NFL draft, ones that I could find their Twitter and I could actually message them, because sometimes you can't really message people on Twitter. But I did work with Michael Jacquet III, who was drafted by the Eagles, and Kevin Dotson, who was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kevin Dotson actually used my design and used it as his Twitter header for a few months until he finally got into a game and they took pictures for him in his new uniform.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You carried the banner for as long as you could. Appreciate it. So anyway, Sean, back to Perfect Game. In Perfect Game and some of your other skills you've been doing is that we've been talking about resiliency a lot around here, and rejection. And I know that before this whole quarantine happened, you did kind of have another internship lined up with the Blue Rocks. And so what did you take from that interview process? And I guess having the feeling of that internship go away, what did you learn from that process that's going to propel you into your future?
Well, it really helped me with, like you said, interview skills. It was obviously I've interviewed with a couple different places now, and they were very laid back, it was a phone interview, and we were just talking about all different things and what my role was going to be. I was very excited for that internship, and I was very excited to, carry on the Newman tradition of Mr. Celery. But I decided I had Perfect Game and the Blue Rocks lined up for the summer, and when the Blue Rocks couldn't have a season, I was okay, well, at least I have Perfect Game. At least I didn't just have no opportunity at all. At least I had one opportunity. And that's what I really learned, is that just because you have something lined up doesn't mean that you're definitely going to have it secured, if you know what I mean. Anything can happen, as you can see in 2020. A lot of things can happen, and that you can just lose an opportunity.
So sticking with the interviews, for the people watching, what would be some advice or the most important thing that someone should look towards improving when going into an interview?
When going into an interview, I usually like to really try to find out who I'm interviewing with. So I've interviewed with different companies, and I've found that if I find the person that I'm interviewing with, then that will help me connect with them more while interviewing with them. The small talk goes a far way, I feel. I feel that the small talk really builds a connection with the person, and the person will likely remember you interviewing with them more often than not. So I feel that if I do research on a person before the interview, then I can have that small talk with them.
So kind of changing directions here. With the Proving Grounds, I know it's a pretty established baseball tournament. Have you ever had any encounters or disagreements with parents that is a funny story or a serious story?
Yeah, so I actually was working with Newman alum Marissa Maglino, and I was scoring the game. She was there. She's actually my boss at Perfect Game. So we were sitting there and we were just talking. I was scoring the game, and I had the score as 10-9. And the score was 10-9 in my eyes, and the other team had 10-9, but this other team had 9-9. And I was like, well, hopefully it is 10-9, jokingly to Marissa. And it was 10-9. And the game ended in the 7th inning. It was a semifinal game, so we had to have a winner. So after the 7th inning that ended, I was like, okay, the game's over. It was the last game of the day. I could go home. Well, the other team starts to take the field, and I was like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. And I called the umpires over. I said, the game's over. It was 10-9. And they didn't agree. They were like, it was 9-9, and they were yelling at me and Marissa. They were yelling at other parents on the other team, and then the other parents started fighting back and forth, and the owner of the stadium in Atlantic City, where I was, had to call the Atlantic City Police Department in order to calm the situation, because the one parents were going after the other parents. It was a very big mess on our hands. We did a little bit of investigating, and we found that the score was 10-9, and they made a mistake instead of us or the other team making a mistake. But they were yelling things at me and Marissa had to be escorted to her car by the police. They were barging into the press box trying to get to me and Marissa.
Nothing more thrilling than some perfect game baseball.
Yeah, right? Boy, that stuff's wild. I mean, that's a pretty good story.
It's a good story.
Intense.
I don't know. What do you think, Andrew? You teed it up. You think it's worthy?
I think he should reach down and grab that chain.
I think that was a home run.
Yeah.
Let's get that
There we
chain
go. Another
on.
story chain. That's right. Getting escorted out of the stadium.
There it is.
I'm just glad that you got the score right and you could do basic math.
Yes. I was glad I didn't mess up or anything.
Yeah, if I was in charge, I probably would have had to score 12-7 or something like that.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing. You learned that.
More of an English guy. But hey, Sean, you've been answering these questions pretty good, so hopefully you can keep it up. We got this segment of the show. It's called Quick Six. We're going to fire 6 questions at you, and I hope you're ready to answer them. So, Jeff, lead us off.
Would you rather always walk backwards or drive backwards?
Walk backwards.
What body part would you have be detachable?
Thumbs.
What's your favorite color, M&M?
Red.
If you had to pick any color in the world to make every single car in the world, what would it be?
Yellow.
That's a quick
What's your
answer.
favorite M&M? Favorite color?
Favorite color?
Yeah, what's your favorite color M&M?
Red.
All right.
Name all the colors in the rainbow. Go.
Oh boy.
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Violet.
That was it.
Roy G. Biv.
That was it.
There it is, Roy G.
That
Biv.
was
Good job. Hey, Sean, you did pretty good. I know you said you were pretty nervous about what we were going to fire at you, but you were on top of it.
Thank
I guess
you.
that chain makes you a little bit quicker.
Yes.
So, Sean, just before we leave, just quick, obviously I mentioned that you are a sophomore and that you really did kind of start interning really quick. So just for anyone that might be watching this or might need to hear the message, why did you start get involved so early, and why did you start interning as a freshman, as a sophomore, to get going in your career?
I really wanted to just jumpstart my career, and I wanted to be set up for in 4 years when I graduate. Well, now 3 years or 2 years. I wanted to really set up an opportunity for me to have a great resume and have an opportunity to get a job when I graduate.
Awesome. Hey, well, that's a great answer. And hey, Sean, we can't thank you enough for coming. You gave us a lot of good stories. Getting escorted out of the stadium is pretty funny. And I'm just glad that they weren't able to barge into the press box and get to you because,
Hey,
you know.
we're glad you made it out
Yeah.
safe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We're glad you made it. We're glad you came. We wish you all the luck the rest of the year and your remaining 2, 3, 4 years. You gave us every number in that answer.
Yeah, appreciate
However long you're here, good luck to you.
For all we know, the score was 9-9.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But hey, we'll end it there.
Hey, we'll let it slide. But anyway, appreciate it, Sean. Hey, Jeff, thanks for coming.
Hey, thank you for
Thanks,
having me.
Appreciate it. Great co-host.
Hey, love it.
Andrew, thanks for coming. Appreciate
Always,
it. You're an
always.
amazing co-host as well. 3 of us
You
love
too.
working with you. And we love all of our fans, everyone at Newman Media, Newman University. And we can't wait to see you. Have a good week. We'll see you next week for another episode of Intern TV.